So don't feel like it's on you every second. You can relax. You should relax.
All right, I am about ready here. Just gonna-
I drank a couple.
Led you to found Cornerstone as an independent advisor?
Well, I think it's interesting when you think about being a financial advisor. There's a lot to keep up with, whether it's managing money, planning for retirement, helping a client make decisions around taxes, estate planning. And as we looked around in the industry, there's a lot of people, while good at what they do, you can easily say that they're jack of all trades and masters of none. And collectively, we found that what we can accomplish and what we can provide to our clients collectively is by far greater than what we could deliver on our own. So one concept was that of the team. And I think we've experienced a lot of success as an organization, but our clients have benefited greatly from it.
Well, I think on the same token is, the way I feel is the way we work together is there's no way in the world that I could accomplish what we've built for our clients by myself. It really does take all of us to, create the synergy and the depth of knowledge that we have.
As an advisor, as Craig mentioned, you have so many things that we're doing on a daily basis. We have to contact clients, want to review the markets, watch the markets. We're constantly you're trying to be in what's the newest, the best product, service, or anything that's out there. So for us, it's not just as a team. There's so many things that we all have to be aware of, but you don't have to know it all. And that's what collectively, when you have someone that can concentrate and they have a unique ability and a unique focus or experience, they can share that and we bring it to the team, and the team benefits from all of that.
I would agree with what Jeff just said. When it comes to the different skill sets we bring to the team, I think when we had originally started the firm, I think we all did a lot of the same things, but over time we've realized, Craig's strength and Jeff's strengths and, of course mine and Brian's, they all really lend well to running this firm because there is so much that takes to grow this firm and take really good care of clients. So it's just really a team effort. It's great.
So Andy, when you think about the team, though, it's not just the four of you that are a team. It's creating and instilling this team culture across the organization. What do you do? How do you actively do that to foster that philosophy of truly operating as a team and sharing clients?
Well, I think you're getting to kind of the core values and the principles that guide the decisions that we make. And I think that, if you really stop and look at it, there's three things that I would probably say are most important. And that's one is making sure we hire the type of person that's going to keep the client at the center. So basically being client focused. Everything they do is based on the client's best interest. So I think that's probably number one. Number two is integrity. Finding people that are going to do the right thing no matter what situation. You're always doing what's in the best interest of the client. Number three, accountability. We want people that when they say they're going to do something, they do it, they follow through, whether it's financial planning or investment management. If you're working with a client, you need to show them how they're progressing. That's our job as advisors, and we help people meet their goals and their dreams that way. So.
Oh, I'm gonna time you guys out. Just a second.
Yeah.
Just got a little closer.
We have I'm worried about the background. Is that might those conversations intrude?
They should not. Are you picking that up, Corey?
No, I wasn't picking up any of that. No.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right, we're good to go.
As Andy, as you mentioned, I think the other major aspect of the culture and the values of Cornerstone is also we're totally independent when it comes to product or service. And that's when we all came from other companies to found Cornerstone. It was about the independence, putting the client first, having the integrity. Trust is earned over time, so we know we have to earn our clients' trust, and that's why having the integrity, the trust, the independence is important to us and our clients.
Well, I think we all came from very large brokerage firms, and as you know, working for those firms, it's always what's in their best interest. So when we founded Cornerstone, the idea of what's in the client's best interest, whether it's not taking commission, working on fee-based, whatever puts on the same side of the table as the client, that's definitely one of the founding principles of Cornerstone. And then if you know the answer to that question, what's in the best interest of the client, there's really never a question. It's answered very easily. The second founding principle is that we found that in the retail environment, money management is very weak. Like they said, it's really tough for an advisor to do everything. So one of the first things we did when we started Cornerstone, we separated money management from financial planning, so the client has an excellent experience in both. So then it's really hard to find that in this industry today.
You know what's interesting about that too, Brian, is there's a lot of firms out there that in some cases specialize in financial planning, and they do, and their financial planning departments are excellent. But then on the other hand, they tend to outsource investment management. Their investment management is not quite as strong. And the opposite also holds true. There are some firms out there that focus solely on investment management, but then as a result, their clients really receive subpar financial planning. And that's really a unique aspect of Cornerstone Financial Partners, is that we have backgrounds in core competencies in both of those areas, and our clients benefit from that.
Well, we hear all the time, people say, we went and we interviewed 4 different firms. The first one wanted a plan, had no idea what to do with the money. The second person wanted to just trade my account and be a stock jock. The third one just wanted to sell me all insurance. And then there's you guys that came from financial planning and led us to the investment management, and we're going with you. We hear that all the time.
Well, I think with our clients, it begins with comprehensive planning. We are a wealth management firm, we have an investment management firm, we have retirement planning, we have insurance, we have divisions that can all, again, we're a team of one working for our client, but when you have those areas, we can specialize. But it always begins with what's the visions of what our clients want to do? What's the vision and the importance of money that you have? Tell us about your family.
Yeah.
What are the important relationships that you have, not just your children, but your parents, your grandparents? Are they still, what do you need? Who are you responsible for? Of course, understanding what do they want to do, what are their goals, and what's their hopes and their dreams. We don't even talk about their assets until we understand who they are. When we understand who they are and what they want to do and where they want to go, we can then start looking to our next division, and that's with investment management, put together an investment plan to get them to accomplish what they want.
And I don't think a lot of clients have ever been through that process. So really kind of what guides us is having a process, a written process, and we don't have to follow it step by step, but to take clients through and have that cornerstone experience, as we call it, so that every client that comes in the door that we meet with has a plan. And I often say, if you're going to build a house, what do you want to start with? You don't start with the foundation, you start with the architect, and you design the home. Then you build the foundation, and then you bring the bricks and the mortar and the lumber in to finish the home. And then you landscape. And so what happens over time with our firm is you walk through this process, which every client receives, and then you get introduced to the financial planner. You get introduced to someone that's handling the money management, the risk management side of things. You begin to work with their CPA and their estate planning attorney. So it's really a very comprehensive approach, and I think that's what most clients don't expect when they come here, but then when they leave, they're very pleased. So.
The Cornerstone experience is about, there's a team of one working for you with independent, comprehensive analysis and advice with investment services that are there for you and for your family.
So Jeff, you described a process that where it sounds like your clients really become your friends because you get to know them so well. Just talk a little bit about how you view your interactions with your clients. Where does it split between friendship and clients, and how does having these folks, having a personal relationship, how does that help you to really fully service the client?
Our clients become our friends because they are our neighbors, they're our co-workers, but they're also our community and people that were involved with our community. Cornerstone grows by word of mouth. People refer us to their family, friends, business colleagues. That's how we grow our business. So being in the business, all of us over 20 years, you develop the relationship. You get to see Joe gets to retire. You see the client retire. You've helped them from when they were in their early 40s or now in their retirement. You're at their college, at their children's college graduation or their high school graduation. You're at their weddings, and unfortunately we're sometimes at their divorce. We're there for the whole experience with our client, and they do become our friends. We say, I hug my client. men and women. I hug my clients hello and we hug goodbye because again, it's become family. That we say when we do our introductions at our seminars, we say welcome family. Really more, but welcome our friends, but we welcome our family, and our families aren't even there because our clients are our family.
You know, when we think of our clients as our friends, and it's interesting is that some of our friends become our clients, and some of our clients become our friends. But when you have a relationship with somebody like that, there's a heightened sense of responsibility of what needs to be delivered for that individual. And again, whether it's as Jeff mentioned, whether it's funding and helping to prepare for a college education, preparing an estate plan, or not just helping somebody get to retirement, but make sure that their retirement is comfortable, that they have peace of mind during that time frame. Because let's face it, you know, when it comes to our finances, in some cases can be a stressful time discussing issues, discussing the future, and we're here to help. We're here to put people at ease.
I know a lot of times people plan for the exciting times of their life, right? College graduation, you know, putting a child through college, retirement. It's a big one we do. That's probably the core of our business. But I think where I felt like I've made the biggest impact is not just retirement planning, but making sure that everyone is prepared for the end stage of life, because obviously it does happen. It's not something that many people want to address, but you need to be organized. And we do have clients over the last at least 5 years that we've lost, and it's very difficult. But most recently I had a client that lost her husband in an automobile accident, and it's this very difficult time for her, but it was also a pretty difficult time for me. And so I was there for her during this time and worked with her and her brother to help settle the estate, and then also work with her to get the assets moved over, you know, into various accounts and help her through that time. So it was, you know, you're always there for your clients, and they do become very close to you. So.
Brian, we spent a lot of time talking about the client-centric focus and philosophy of the firm, but also very important for Cornerstone are the notions of independence and transparency. Just talk a little bit about what that means to you and what the value that drives for your clients.
Transparency, I think a better word for transparency is accountability. I think that's the word Andy just used, and it's one of the founding principles of that. And it's a very unique situation that there's not a lot of accountability in the financial management industry. And I think the best way to show is how do we structure it. One is, you know, we custodize our assets with LPL, with Schwab, with Fidelity. So, you know, number one is that we have a triple check system. One is the money is bonded and held and custodized at very large institutions. The second is before money management even gets involved, I would say, you know, all the advisors on our team, you know, are our boss at money management for the client. So accountability, they're overseeing us for the client, which is a double check system because, you know, they're doing the performance report. You know, where did you start? Where are you? What did you index do? What did you do? Accountability. And most people aren't willing to give that because if they really knew, they wouldn't be too happy with their advisor. So basically, like I said, we built a $1 billion firm by word of mouth. Good news travels fast, bad news travels faster, and we have very good news. The third part of that is that, you know, money management with the advisors and the partners, you know, taking care of the clients and being part of their family and their friends. That's really not the role of money management. We're behind the scenes. I always say the doors are put on the outside of, locks are put on the outside of our doors because basically they're spending all the time with the client, understanding who they are, where they're going, how much risk they need to take there. So by the time the money comes to money management, we have a really good idea of what we're doing, and then we can focus our full time on figuring out where in the world can we get the highest return with the least risk. And so we're able to focus just on what we're doing, which provides great investment performance for the client.
At Cornerstone, at Cornerstone Wealth, we're a registered investment advisory firm, RIA, kind of the acronym that we use. Every advisor is an investment advisor representative, an IAR. That gives us a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interest of our clients. And there's a lot going on in Washington right now about the fiduciary rules. we already are at the fiduciary rules. We are to put our clients above all, above company, above ourselves, above shareholders. So as a registered investment advisory firm, Cornerstone Financial Advisors, again, we are fiduciary responsibility, put our clients first, and that's what we do.
I would add to that is, a lot of companies offer proprietary products. As independent advisors, we don't have proprietary products to offer. So you're not going to walk into our office and see a Cornerstone or any other product that's offered to meet your objectives or needs, because they don't exist. And I think that allows us to be on the same side of the table, as the client in all cases. So we're going to go out, whether it's investments or insurance or whatever the services we're going to offer, and we're actually going to shop that out and bring back the best solution. So to me, that you can't get much more transparent. And of course, full disclosure being added into each one of those situations is extremely important. So,
Yeah, and I think what happens is that over one's financial life and over one's life, there's going to be major decisions that people are going through: retirement, education of children, buying a house, buying their first car, all of these things when they come up. And most of our clients have the resources to accomplish really what they want. What we have to do as advisors is to help them access the right products, the right service. As Andy mentioned, as an independent advisor, not having products that we have on a shelf that we're trying to use, it allows us, again, to be on that same side of the table with them. Because if we are, again, when we're at the college graduation, we're at that retirement with them, we're together.
well, I think one of the things that has always kind of bothered me in our industry is a lot of advisors that work for different firms, that they start with a product in mind. They've never met Joe. They've never met Sally. They show up and they already have the product ready to sell. And that's a salesman, and that's a salesperson. To me, we're advisors. We're certified financial planners. We're folks that are going to come out and try to get to know what you're trying to achieve, and then put a game plan together, and then we determine later on what products and services meet your needs, right? That's the best way to be more of a consultative approach. So.
And as an independent firm, you have that ability, the flexibility to have full transparency, accountability. And so talk a little bit about independence and what that means, the power that brings to you. You talked about it a little bit, but just elaborate on that.
Well, I can give you a personal experience. So I came from a very large bank, First Union National Bank, and of course it's no longer in existence, but we had to sell particular products. And there was a particular fund family that we had to sell. We were mandated to do so. Here, you take any fund family or money manager, insurance product, retirement product, whatever it may be, and we can shop the entire industry and find the best solution for our clients. So it really, to me, it helps me sleep at night, because it knows that I know that I'm doing the best thing for my client. And when I worked in that environment where I was pushing a product, I never felt that way. So.
You began with the four of you. The firm's now about 40. So it's one thing for the four of you to share a vision. How do you recruit talented investment professionals that share your philosophy?
The interesting thing when you look at the employees, staff at Cornerstone, how many people came to us through a referral from an existing employee. And as Brian mentioned, good news travels fast, and I think that we've come to develop a culture here that again puts the client first. But then, as owners of Cornerstone, we also have a sense of responsibility to our employees to make Cornerstone a place that they're going to enjoy what they do. They get a certain level of personal satisfaction. But it's not just a place to come to work 40 hours a week and get a paycheck, but they also know that we are independent, that we are fiduciaries, that we're doing great things for our clients, and people want to be part of that. And I think it's also interesting when you look at the amount of time that we've been in business and how many, it seems like month after month, we're celebrating more 5-year anniversaries, 10-year anniversaries of employees at Cornerstone, and it's exciting. And I also think that's an important point when clients are considering a firm, that they look at Cornerstone and realize that we have folks that have been here, in excess of 10 years, and because of that, the level of service that they're able to provide to our clients because of their tenure here is exciting.
I think the, go ahead.
I also said, you were asking basically how do we create new employees that carry the same philosophy that we do going forward. But I'll give you an example of where we just made a huge hire that doesn't carry the same philosophy that I have, and I think that makes their team much stronger and better. And we just hired Chris Zaccarelli, the new Chief Investment Officer, to work with me on my team. And it's very interesting that most firms, first of all, wouldn't have spent the effort, the resources to bring somebody of that caliber in. But Cornerstone is always looking not how do we get bigger, but how do we get better. But he is a CFA and a total scientist in managing money, where I'm a total economist. I use economics to interpret where I should invest, where he's using science. So it's a complete opposite of how I manage money. I think managing money is an art, not a science, and he thinks managing money is a science, not an art. And it's going to create great debate, and I believe it'll really increase our clients' returns and reduce volatility. And we are looking for people to come in to Cornerstone with new ideas to grow, to how we can get better, and it's getting better. And a lot of people have asked us, Cornerstone, you started, you're over $1 billion now, soon you'll be at $2 billion. How big are you going to get? And the question really doesn't resonate to us because we're not trying to get bigger. We're trying to get better, and if you can get better, you're going to get bigger naturally. And what we're trying to do is create a better client experience every day. So we have to hire people and grow, and that's why we're at 40 now, soon 50, probably, and growing, but not to get bigger, to provide a better client experience. And then by doing that, then the referrals come, and we just grow from that along.
It's interesting that Brian talks about the investment side. I spend a lot of time working with clients, but lately I've spent a lot more time talking to advisors in the field, folks that are looking to come to Cornerstone, and they're just truly amazed at the empowerment, the amount of time and energy that we put into the folks here, the investment that we make in their future. I mean, typically when I interview someone, I want to know if they're looking for a job or are they looking for a career. Because none of my clients want someone that wants an 8-to-5 job, right? They want someone who's passionate about what they do, that when they wake up in the morning, they have a drive, right, to help people. And that's the type of people that we find. And then those people attract people like themselves. And so Jim mentioned earlier in our office that it kind of snowballs over time. Our business has grown through referrals, but so have our advisors and our staff. I mean, they're constantly being referred by other people in the firm or folks that are in the community that say, hey, I think someone that I know would be a really good fit. One of the things that I think we did early on is we invested in a lot of our advisors to go back and get a certification called their CFP. Brian mentioned a CFA earlier, Chartered Financial Analyst. That's more on the money management side. Getting their CFP, it's an 18-month to 24-month program. We pay for half of that. Right? We have to have them have a little skin in the game, but we pay for them to go back and get that education. We pay for them to be off early, to go to class, to be in programs where they're teaching them how to pass the exam, obviously, to get them prepared for the exam. So not a lot of firms are doing that, and there are not a lot of firms out there encouraging that. So I think that's a big difference.
We have more CFPs than any other firm around, don't we?
I think we have 9 certified financial planners so far, and there are several taking the exam soon. So
I think what's exciting is, as Craig has mentioned, our firm has grown through referrals, not just from clients, but also referrals from our existing employees. The new faces that come in are, again, of that. It's not because we're changing position, someone's left our firm. It's because we're growing the firm, because we're trying to get better. Our attrition rate with our client base is so low, which, again, just like our employee base, we don't lose. Most employees stay with Cornerstone. Most employees don't leave because of the culture, the relationship that we have. Everything we've put together, we want to reward them, provide them a good compensation package. They get to see, again, the rewards of helping others. And again, it comes back to they stay and our clients stay.
So in building an enduring firm, your firm is almost 15 years old at this point, obviously there has to be discipline and process at every step along the way. So talk a little bit about the discipline that you bring to running your business, the discipline that you bring to maintaining, and to staying current with all trends in wealth management and financial management.
Well, again, this is a business that changes every day. It's as our part of our motto, the confidence and clarity through the financial maze. There's always things that continue to change. The markets are going up one day, they're down. Fed's raising rates, they're lowering. There's things that we have to keep up on. As certified financial planners, we also have continuing education we need to stay on top of for our licenses. But for our clients, it's also about continuing our education, keeping up on the latest trends with the market, keeping up on the tax code, the changes that are happening, retirement plan changes that may be happening, estate planning, whatever involves our clients financially as a team, we need to keep up on it. Doesn't mean we all keep up on every piece of it, and that's what the team that we have, and not just the four of us, but the team that we've built, is that the retirement planning team is staying up on the newest changes in the law, fiduciary rules, retirement plan analyses that need to be done. Wealth management, we have to keep in touch on top of the latest wealth management with, again, tax code, retirement plan changes, estate planning. With investment management, keeping up with what's going on in the daily economics, the macro, the microeconomics, the leading economic indicators that are out there, so we know we're in the best position for our clients.
I think from a wealth management standpoint, a lot of folks really don't have a plan. We've talked a lot about planning and putting something in motion that you can follow. And probably one of the best tools that we've implemented, and it's a piece of technology, but it's eMoney's Wealth Vision. And basically what it is, it's a piece of technology that allows us to aggregate all of our clients' data, whether they hold it at our firm or other custodians. It also allows us to take that data and do financial planning. And then there's plenty of reports you can generate to help clients make informed decisions. And then lastly, there's an online portal where you can store important information that pertains to your life. And so I think this has been one of these tools that we've invested in over the years that it took a while to learn, and it took a while to roll out to our clients, but now that we're using it, I don't think many of us can really operate without this technology, and it really helps us interact with our clients either in the office as we're planning, and then in some cases in their office or in their home. So I think technology is obviously a big part of our business these days.
And
So.
investment management as well. We just invested a massive amount of money in a new trading platform that allows us to trade simultaneously over 3 custodians, plus do daily performance reporting. So it allows us to trade more efficiently, and it's just a matter of investing in the company and investing in the latest technology and the most knowledgeable people around us.
There's no question that technology plays a big role in our firm, and there's a few areas where that's really important. One is the client experience, and certainly as technology advances, people are expecting an experience in working with a firm that's second to none. And so whether it's through our performance reporting, whether it's through our financial planning software, Andy mentioned account aggregation, and for somebody to be able to log into one site, see their entire financial picture, is not only very convenient, but it's also very powerful in terms of collaborating with their financial advisor to make decisions. So technology is not only for our clients' experience, but it's also for the experience of our employees, and putting tools in the hands of our employees to allow them to provide even better service for our clients. It's a win-win for everybody. So we're very focused on technology that's available, the technology that we're currently using at Cornerstone.
The four of you have, again, almost a decade and a half since the founding of Cornerstone, and yet you seem to bring a remarkable enthusiasm and energy, even as it's grown to over $1 billion. Craig, what's your vision for Cornerstone 3 years from now, 5 years from now?
Well, when you look at the clients that we serve today, we're constantly asking ourselves, how can we do it even better? How can we provide even a better experience? And that's again through the training that we provide our employees, the culture that we drive here, not just locally but in all of our branch offices. The tools that we provide to our financial advisors to give better service for our clients. So you've heard a theme with Cornerstone around getting better, not just about getting bigger. And so I envision a firm 3 years from today that's able to deliver advice more efficiently, more effectively, in a way that's convenient to our clients.
We're a team of one, continuing to grow and getting better for our clients.
Andy, what's your vision for Cornerstone?
You know, I was talking with Ginger earlier, and you know, I'm constantly talking to advisors that are very attracted to our model. Our model really makes a lot of sense. A lot of the decisions are driven from the four of us and the executives on our team, but we've built a firm that is definitely scalable. And so we're running into advisors constantly that have kind of plateaued, and I don't feel like they can really grow and manage the business they already have. And what I see happening is we're attracting advisors, and they're coming to us. We're not having to recruit them. They're constantly calling and saying, well, could I join you at Cornerstone, and how can I leverage the resources that you have? And so what I envision over the next 3 to 5 years is us opening additional offices to offer more advice in the locations where our clients live and maybe some of these new advisors operate. So in other areas throughout the Carolinas, I definitely would like to be in some of the larger cities. I think within the next 5 years, we'll probably double in size in both assets and also employees. So it takes the employees, obviously, and advisors to support that. So,
Brian, what's your vision for Cornerstone?
You know, I always look back and to look forward. And if you look back on the founding principles, if you do everything in the best interest of the client, you never have to sell. You know, if you do excellent money management and you do excellent in financial planning, the client will be very well taken care of. And you provide transparency and you provide consistency and accountability, then you're offering something that nobody else is offering out there. And so if we just focus on that, the rest will come. I don't think we have to leave the founding principles to run the company. The only thing I do see is that there's a lot more of us that'll be working towards the betterment of this industry, because I think this industry as a whole is very poor. And I think, you know, the average advisor right now, their attrition rate in 2013 was 13% of their clients left them. And we're running under 1%. So the thing is we're providing the essence of what this industry should be. We're making it a better industry. And if people want to compete with us, they have to step up their game or join us. And that tells me that Cornerstone is going to drive a better industry for the client experience. And that's going to be wonderful. The rest will come.
Jeff, your vision for Cornerstone?
I'm retired.
the Lake Norman, have you met it?
I think the vision 3 to 5 years has been said by almost everybody else, but I think we continue to evolve. The founding principles don't have to change, but it's an evolution of, again, getting better. There's more of us. Our roles may change within the partnership, within our firm, and there's, again, the advisors that have been with our firm are now stepping up into new roles and taking more leadership responsibility in outside offices, in money management, in wealth management, in C-level executive positions. So the growth is there, but the founding principles don't have to change.
I just have one final question. I'm going to address it to Andy. Andy, if tonight you went home and went in your wife's dressing room, what is the one article of clothing you choose to wear?
I don't even know how to answer that question.
definitely.
He's turning red. Don't stop. Keep it going.
I love thongs.
Definitely the heels.
They're just a little bit uncomfortable, but I would probably wear one of the no.
And the heels.
And heels at the same time.
But an even more important question is boxers or briefs.
Yeah, neither.
So, I think
Excellent, guys.
You guys
I mean,
were-
That went better than anticipated. You were
We didn't
all
even have to stop.
relaxed and- Yeah, no, it was really
Be on point
good.
with that.
by the way,
I'm
plenty
excited.
of material.
Oh, good Lord,
Now,
yes.
I'm going to get compliance hat for a second. Now, some of what people said. Not too bad. I can guarantee it's not going to make it. But
Hers might be more around
Process, so I love, I mean, when we ask this last thing, so process, discipline, I'll ask you about the process and discipline to bring to bear in this business. And
Okay.
And real quick, I'm gonna keep you on time so we can make sure we get all these interviews going. You said 15 minutes for them?
I think 15 minutes.
Let's do that. We're gonna go ahead and start the timer now for 15, and I will just keep you on point with that.
So, let's start with the obvious question. Oh, I'm sorry, and just so you know, anything I say is not gonna be heard or seen. So if I ask you something and it includes some kernel of the question in the answer so that there's context. Okay, just going forward. You recently augmented the capabilities at Cornerstone by forming Cornerstone Risk Management Partners. Talk a little bit about why it made sense to start this as a separate business.
Right, so we designed a separate company within Cornerstone Financial Partners, which is Cornerstone Risk Management Advisors. We did this for several reasons. One, advisors that operate in a wealth management capacity, they wear so many hats, right? They're supposed to keep up with the economy, they're dealing with the investment side of their business, they're keeping up with their clients, they're trying to understand the different types of products that are available. And one area that we found was risk management is extremely complicated because there's life insurance, there's disability, long-term care, there's property and casualty, there's health insurance, there's all these different types of insurance that you have to understand. And so to be a specialist in those areas, what we wanted to do is design a division so that we have professionals that are masters in each one of those areas. And so that's what we did. So.
And could you talk a little bit about the synergies that you see, your wealth advisor, the synergy that you see in offering Cornerstone Risk Management services to the traditional wealth management client?
Sure. A big part of the wealth management business is financial planning, and it involves more than just investment planning. Oftentimes it involves, protecting the income, the source of income, the ability to earn the income. So we do get involved in a big way in designing and implementing some programs that involve insurance products to help in those particular situations with each client. We also spend a lot of time with the business owner. We have a lot of business clients that have similar needs as the personal client, but they have more in terms of needing the ability to look for additional tax benefits within their business. They need the ability to recruit, reward, and retain key talent to their business. They have business succession needs as well. And then we roll over into the estate planning needs. So we can help our clients from a standpoint of accumulating the wealth, protecting the wealth, and then helping them pass it on to the next generation.
That was good. To the core philosophies of Cornerstone are independence and transparency. Talk a little bit about what you bring in terms of independence and transparency with Cornerstone Risk Management Services.
Sure. I would say, as a separate division of Cornerstone, we do have the opportunity to really bring the market to the client as it pertains to the different products that we represent. We're not just an agency full of captive insurance agents that can represent one particular product or company. We do have the ability to go to market and shop and design programs and underwriting offers from multiple companies in the marketplace. So I do think that's a big difference that most people out there don't necessarily get. The other thing that It helps, it helps from a transparency standpoint, having the same company, so to speak, look at everything under one roof. So we understand what's going on the wealth management side at the same time what's going on the risk management side, and we can work together to put those things in a plan for the particular client.
Dave, can you talk a little bit about what independence and transparency means for you? And you come from a captive background, so.
I think that independence in offering risk management to clients is essential, just as it is in the investment side. Being able to go to market with a client and have them have a carrier that fits their specific needs and can manage the risk that they carry, whether it be personal through their health insurance or their personal property and casualty, or through their commercial risks, which can be anything from group health benefits to professional liability to their normal commercial insurance for the company that they own. I think it's very important that a lot of people get caught up in having one particular company try to handle those needs, and in today's market it's not possible to handle them all properly in one place, and that's why we try to bring all of the best markets to the clients to solve their needs.
This must be liberating for you to be able to be in a position to truly focus on what is purely best for your client.
I ran into a bunch of clients and I was not able to help them properly and had to send them other places, and unfortunately was not able to make sure they were being handled properly. And so being able to have access to many of the best companies that are available, all the companies that we choose to do business with for our clients, is the best way to truly advise our clients rather than to sell them a product.
Well, I think one of the things I'll add to that is when I originally met David Rainey and we were looking at building out the property and casualty side of the business, one of the things that I said to David, and he can vouch for this, was that we really value the independence. And so to be able to come to our clients with one or two products, if you leave a captive market, isn't as powerful as being able to come to market with 5, maybe 10 different products to meet our clients' needs. So I felt like that was one of the things we both agreed upon as we build this firm out to meet our clients' needs, is that we remained independent.
Typically, folks don't review their insurance program, their risk management program, on a rigorous basis. Can you talk a little bit about how often people should take a look at their full range of insurance products they're considering?
Ideally, once a year. Occasionally it'll go every 2 to 3 years, but if somebody hasn't sat down with their agent and gone over their plan in the last couple of years, and the issues that we find is that there are clients that have grown a significant group of assets, and they have not looked at their insurance products or needs in 20 years. And they are not the same people in the same situation as they were 20 years ago. And so there are large gaps in their risk management plan that could adversely affect those assets that they've worked their entire lives to gain. And so it's very important to make sure that for very relatively small amounts of money, they can protect those large risks that we all face every day.
When the discipline and process are also two of the elements of the Cornerstone philosophy that we've spoken about on the wealth management and investment management side. Talk a little bit about the process and the discipline you bring to bear on the risk management portion of the business.
Absolutely. We receive, the advisors will talk with our clients, and if they decide on a product, they'll submit the illustration request to me. I work directly with the carriers. Once we've received the illustrations, we submit that back, and they review it over with their clients. Once they decide to go ahead and move forward with the application, they submit it back to us, and we submit it to the carrier, and then I walk through the process of underwriting. Once the carriers come back with the offer, we share that with the client, and they tell us if they would like to move forward or not. Then after that, we'll receive the policy, go over everything, and then we'll give that to the client as well.
Typically, how many carriers will you request a proposal from?
Usually the top 3 to 5 depending on health risks, depending on amounts, depending on products. There's whole life, term, universal life, guaranteed UL. So it depends on what the client's really looking for.
Talk a little bit about the responsiveness of the clients to Cornerstone in this bidding process and their focus on working with an independent representative.
As far as them wanting to know the products?
No, as far as the carriers wanting to do business with Cornerstone.
Absolutely. Well, we have underwriters, our in-house underwriters that do, if somebody comes back at standard or table 2, we do go back to the in-house underwriters and work with them to try to get them to where we can get them at standard or the next risk up.
So what you're talking about really is serving as an advocate for your client, similar to what's happening on the wealth management side.
Absolutely.
So just talk a little bit about advocacy for your clients. Let me go.
Sure. You know, and it's important, especially in this industry, to keep tabs on your client, whether you're managing their money or whether you're writing insurance for them or doing financial planning for them. And I do feel like we do a good job of reaching out to the client, letting them know what's going on in the process, letting the advisor know what's going on during the process. You know, Whitney, she spends a lot of time communicating back and forth in between the insurance company and the advisor and the client, always making sure everybody knows where you are in the process, whether it's the beginning of the process where you've gotten an application submitted to the carrier, or whether it's sometime in the middle where you need additional requirements, where you have to negotiate offers with underwriters, or whether it's at the end when the policy's ready to be placed. How do we get that to them, explain what they have, get it in force, and have just genuinely have good follow-up and monitoring. But Whitney, that's what she does, and she's a really good facilitator dealing with the particular advisors and/or insurance companies that we have. As far as the number of companies, I mean, we can go to, I would say, 50 different companies if we would like. But depending on, as Whitney mentioned, the product and the premium tolerance and the underwriting and so forth, we are doing some what we call field underwriting in the beginning, and we're trying to narrow down the choices for the best ones for the client's particular situation. And then as we move through the process, I would say one thing that's important for us is that having the ability to change gears or shift companies midstream. If something comes back, we don't like the way it looks, or we need a different product design, then we have the ability to go to multiple carriers without going back to the client and getting a whole bunch of other new information. So that does set us apart from some insurance outfits that are out there in the marketplace.
So again, so you have the ability to always put your clients' needs first, and make that be the complete focus of what you do.
Yes.
I would also add to that, you know, a lot of advisors, they'll start off, like we said earlier, with a product in mind, right? So if they're captive, they're starting off with their product. And really what we do at Cornerstone Risk Management Advisors is look to see what they're trying to achieve. So if it's life insurance and you need a certain amount of death benefit, then we need to understand the term, we need to understand what you're willing to pay, and then we can shop that out to the market and come back with the best 3 solutions to present to the client. Then we can give them our recommendation going forward. So, I mean, to me, we're consultants, and we're bringing back from the market the best options that are available.
So let me just close with a question that I'll ask of Dave and Andy. So you're both business owners, and I know an area of expertise with Cornerstone Risk Management is with the small business owner.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about how your experience informs your ability to be such an effective advocate for the small business owner.
I can tell you personally, I know that as a business owner, you do not have the time to do everything for yourself. You wear so many hats. And I think identifying the risks and having somebody be able to advise you on how to handle or mitigate those risks is what we do. That is what we bring to the clients. Whether or not they choose to follow through on the recommendations that we have, or all of the recommendations, the most important thing is that they know that there is a risk there before a claim happens. What we don't want our clients to have is realizing they didn't have coverage after the fact. And by making sure that they are dealing with professionals, we can make sure they know about those risks so they can determine the best way to solve those.
So I guess in closing, as a business owner, I know that 99% of my day is spent dealing with my clients and running my business. Very little of my time is spent looking at my insurance needs, right? I mean, I literally have to have Ed or David actually pull me aside to get me to meet with them to discuss it, but it's that one thing that happens, right? That we didn't have a life insured, or we didn't have property insured, we didn't have someone's income insured, or we didn't have long-term care insurance on someone who ends up going into a long-term care facility. That's when the attorneys call and want to know why. And so, obviously we want to protect ourselves, but most importantly, we want to protect our clients. So.
Ed, let me, there is actually another final question. What is your vision for Cornerstone Risk Management over the next 3 years?
I would say that we would want to become a premier insurance outfit, a company that can be a full service insurance arm of Cornerstone Financial Partners, and just be able to grow this company into something that that's different and positive, and be able to provide the clients with what they need.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
So you asked earlier about the growth of Cornerstone Financial Partners or Cornerstone Wealth, and we are growing throughout the Carolinas and across the country, and we're going to have advisors in all of these offices that have different needs for their clients. And so what I'd like to see Cornerstone Risk Management advisors do is be a resource to the advisors in the field so that they have professionals to come to and help solve problems. That's really what Cornerstone Risk Management advisors is about.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
That's good.
Dave, what's your vision?
My vision is to build this company into some place that our clients can come to us with any risk that they have, and they will be able to have markets and be able to solve those problems for them, so that they can feel when they're here that their business can be handled, whether it's on the investment side or the insurance side, risk management, that they can, excuse me, let me start that over.
Good.
I want to make sure that we can handle all of our clients' needs so that they do not need to have multiple people to call if they have questions about their risk management, whether it has to do with their personal insurance, commercial insurance, their health insurance, or their investment needs. They will have one place that they can call, and they will have people that they can trust that can take care of their needs.
Okay, great.
Good.
Good job.
35 right now. Yeah.
Okay, and this is, this is probably 15 minutes as well. Great. Brian, Chris, how you doing?
Good, Joe. How you doing?
Doing great. Brian, talk a little bit about the investment process at Cornerstone. You've been here, you've been the core of the investment management division since the founding 15 years ago. Talk about your philosophy as you approach investment management.
Investment management, basically our philosophy is that we manage money for the retail investor, for the individuals, or life savings. So we look a little different here than you do, say, an institution or money manager. And what we're really doing is we're investing people's life savings, so we have to kind of walk a tightrope, which is we have to get them all the return in the market with less risk. So we have to go and we move a little quicker than most people. But what we're really doing here is interpreting economics. So we're looking at not what we're doing right now, but what's going to happen. So basically, we spend all our time in money management looking at economics and interpreting what that's saying to try to figure out where the economy is going, and then we place money to interpret that.
So talk a little bit about that discipline that you bring in aggregating economic data as an input to your investment process.
Well, you know, most people are reactive, you know, and most advisors are reactive that manage money. What we're trying to do is try to say, you know, we're looking at deep economics to figure out what's happening on the factory floor, what's factory back order, backlog, how much raw materials are being shipped, how much electricity is being burned, how many rotary rigs are running, to get a feeling of where the economy is headed in the next 3 to 6 months. So once we get that of different economies of the world, then we don't really care what happens. In other words, we don't care if we're going to recession or hyperinflation or boom times. What we really care is if that's going to happen, then where do we find the opportunity to invest people's money either to protect it or grow it?
Chris, can you talk a little bit about your philosophy as you think about managing money and the investment management process?
Sure, absolutely. My thought process is much more of a value grounded process. I like to look top down like Brian does on the economic side, but I also like to do bottom up analysis where kind of looking at what are the opportunity sets within the different sectors and regions that the economy is basically headed in. So you're looking for the best companies you can find based on the valuation and based on the growth. So if you kind of take a GARP approach where it's kind of growth at reasonable price, you're really looking at kind of that cross-section between where do you get the most growth for the lowest price. And if you can do that within the right sectors and subsectors based on where the economy is going, that's where you're going to really find your outperformance.
Brian, you've at Cornerstone, the Cornerstone investment process has always demonstrated a willingness to express opinions and to be far from benchmarks when you consider it appropriate. Talk about how your philosophy about risk management dovetails with that willingness to not necessarily focus on benchmarks.
Well, again, it's driven, money management is overseen by the financial planners, the advisors. They're really giving us the risk parameters for the portfolios, saying, the client has this much risk and this much desire, therefore they should be 60% in stock and 40% in bond. So that's really our trigger point. But once we're given that allocation, we really can go around the world to figure out where can we get the highest return with the least risk. But the idea is not to go more aggressive. We're not going to go 70 stock and 30 bond, but there have been many times where our 60 in stock is down to 30 or 20, where we can go much more defensive because, again, our major goal is protecting people's money. This is their life savings. So the idea is I have to go defensive and protect money, and that's number one. Number one is return of principal. Number two is I have to beat the markets because I have 16 advisors over my shoulder every day saying, this is where we started, this is where you are, what this market did, this is where our clients are, and they're doing the performance reporting, so there's a double check system there to give accountability to the client.
So, but Brian, you're talking about ultimately optimizing asset class selection before security selection. Talk a little bit about the importance of the asset class allocation.
Asset allocation is driven by risk and reward, basically, that you have bonds for defense and you have equities for offense and growth. I think the difference here, though, is that I really have always instituted a go anywhere type of mentality, of where can I find the highest return with the least risk. And I think the reason that we've beaten the market so highly is in bonds. A lot of people take all this risk with equity, and then their bonds just get dragged along, because we know in a growing economy, bonds tend not to do really well. So they take very meek gains in their bonds, and they take all this risk to try to pull their bonds up. What we do at Cornerstone is we actively manage our bonds as intensely as we do our equities, so that they're going up in sync. So basically I can take less risk with the equity and still beat their index. The other part is when the market is falling and we're going defensive, is that our bonds are basically correlated to greater gains when the interest rates are falling, and then we take our equities defensive or maybe overweight bonds more and reduce our equity position.
Chris, you've managed money in the crucible of Wall Street, and you manage money now in Charlotte. Talk about the advantage that comes from having perspective of sitting someplace outside of Wall Street and managing money.
Sure. Well, I think Wall Street's known for moving quickly and having that fast money approach. And I think, when you're talking about investing for the long term, and you're looking at 5 to 10 years, 20 years down the road, looking at people trying to prepare for retirement, trying to prepare for, all of your life's goals, whether that's, funding college education, funding weddings, funding, purchases or other types of expenditures down the line. I think you want to be thinking much more long term. So what's good about being outside of Wall Street and being away from kind of all the fast money and kind of the groupthink is you get a chance to take an independent approach. And you can really start saying, okay, how do I take a look at what's happening in the world, what's happening within security selection? You can do that without following the consensus, because ultimately, if you want to outperform, you can't be doing what everyone else is doing. And to the extent that you're following the consensus, you're going to get consensus or average type returns. If you can think differently than everyone else and be a little bit away from kind of where everyone is acting in the same capacity, you can differentiate yourself in that way and hopefully bring, a fresh, broad perspective to, money management.
Which I think.
Same question. It's you manage money again, and you in money centers, and now you manage money yourself. Talk about the advantage that you have of being away from the madding crowds.
Well, I can only say that I started in a very large Wall Street firm that basically dictated what you could buy and what you had to sell. So it actually really was the crowd mentality, and it really they wanted you to be part of the crowd mentality. And like, we're both GARP managers, so if we're looking to buy low to sell high, we're trying to buy things that are out of favor. And basically that's what we're looking for. We're digging through what is really good value and the street's overlooking, or a lot of times the large firms just want you to channel you into what they're buying at the moment. So it gives us much more independent. That's why we started an independent investment firm, is to use our own critical thinking and to have our own investment ideas and not to follow the crowd. I think Chris brought a great idea. That is why I think our performance has been excellent. It's just we're not part of it. We're just using our own ideas. And the other part that's really nice too is, I used to always have to go up to New York or Boston to debate economics with people, and it's great having Chris here because we're definitely on the same plane. Perhaps different strategies, CFA, and basically a lot of scientific approach along with his analysis, where I come more from an economics approach, and we really correlate well together. So it's I think all the clients will have the advantage of both of us being on their accounts.
So much of Cornerstone's culture Cornerstone's culture is focused on the client, is a client-centric culture. Talk about how your process that results in ultimately unique portfolios for every client drives the best possible outcome for your clients.
Go ahead.
Well, I think that's a great point. I mean, ultimately, instead of getting a one-size-fits-all approach, which you're going to find in some of the larger firms, if you're at a smaller, more independent firm, you're going to get independent advice and you're getting more tailored advice. And so one of the benefits of bringing your money to Cornerstone is that you're going to get that personalized approach. You're going to be able to see results that are custom tailored for what it is that you're trying to do. It's a goals-based approach. It's looking at what's important to you personally. It's not necessarily what's pushing the goals of the organization, or just trying to take some type of template that's being pushed down from upper management at a larger firm. So you really get a good a customized approach.
And I think the other on top of that is that I think one of the overwhelming investment themes in the investment industry for clients, with other advisors is, well, let me put you in this, just hold on, get the average return. Well, we don't want the average return. We want higher upside and less downside. So we employ more of an active approach, basically, to get out of the way of following things and get in what's going to work. So we don't want the average return and ride it down to ride it up again. So we're just a bit more active, and in that way it really reduces volatility and increases return.
One thing that's wonderful at Cornerstone is the collaborative nature between, collaborative aspect of the relationship between wealth management and investment management. Brian, obviously you've spent quite a bit of time, you've invested quite a bit of time in educating the wealth advisors. Talk about what you do to maintain their focus and their understanding of the current investment environment.
Well, number one is we have investment committee where, there's the two of us and Rachel and Kelly. So there's 4 full-time money management people in this firm, which in this type of investment climate, very few financial firms have anybody that's full-time investment management. So two things. One, it allows us to do nothing but spend time in studying and economics and figuring out where to go for the client. The other is we do a lot of meetings with the advisors. Most of our clients have seen us with the advisor, where we always utilize a team approach because the advisor is the boss on the client's account, and then we basically grow and we manage for that advisor and that client relation. And then on the other hand, we have an investment committee with 10 people on it, where the advisors and staff can basically come in. We meet every Wednesday morning, plus we have breakout teams to basically teach our knowledge to our advisors and our staff, so they're more kept up to date and more knowledgeable on economics and how you make money with money.
Great. I think 15 minutes, perfect.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. That last answer, the first 2/3 is going to be a phenomenal soundbite.
All right.
Yeah, we got.
Great job. GARP manager.
No,
I'm a GARP manager. Hey.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Hey, you're a GARP manager. I'm a GARP manager.
Kidding, Craig. I'll get him. That's right. Cool.
Great. I wish you gave me some questions to prepare myself with.
Well, you just gotta wing it, Katie.
Okay, I am ready.
Well, before we start, throw us a couple questions real quick, Jen.
So,
Deer in headlights.
Yeah.
So, Craig, let's start with you. Let's talk a little bit about what Cornerstone, as an independent third-party advisory firm, brings to 401k consulting.
Are you?
I'm rolling anyway. So
Oh, you're rolling anyways. Okay. Are we? This will go on the blooper. Are we rolling? Are we filming? No, I wanted to hear a couple questions before we started, so I could get.
So what do you bring that's unique to retirement plan advisory? What is so critical that why should every plan have a third-party advisor? Doesn't do that. What can Cornerstone do to optimize the cost of the plan? Talk about the fiduciary environment right now, both from the ERISA perspective and from the plaintiff's bar perspective.
Yeah.
What can Cornerstone do as a co-fiduciary to mitigate risk for the sponsor? What can Cornerstone do to enhance the plan participant and the employee experience? Which talks specifically about the programs, the nature of programs that can help employees better plan for retirement. So that's kind of the direction we're going to go.
Gotcha.
Okay. And this may be more like 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
20 minutes. All right.
20 minutes.
Let's do it.
Yeah, well, because we're 30, I think 20, 15 is going to be too short for this.
For 1.5. Yeah. Let's do it.
I'm good.
Okay, Craig,
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the development of Cornerstone's capability in 401k advisory work.
Well, as an independent firm, we partner with our broker-dealer, LPL Financial, and LPL has brought a whole suite of tools and resources, technology to the table for us to use in working with our clients. And then, of course, what Cornerstone brings to the table is that independence to be able to work with our clients in a consultative way and to act in their best interest, but also to act as a fiduciary on their behalf to shop, negotiate, work with other vendors to determine the best pricing, the best platform that works with the employee base of that company.
Time you up for a second. Can you sit back just a little bit? You're putting it. Yeah, there you go. Because I got
the
a mean
shadow.
shadow on his face. Yeah.
My bad.
Katie, can you talk a little bit about what Cornerstone brings that's unique in third-party advisory work on the 401k side?
Cornerstone implements a 12-point process where we go through all the investment options in the plan, make sure that they are up to par, competitive with other investment options. We fight to have the best investment options on each plan. We'll review them on a quarterly basis. If they're underperforming in any aspect, such as performance, manager tenure, expense ratio, we remove the funds. And of course, we have a discussion with the plan sponsor before we take any action. And we really just try to have the best lineup for every plan.
And you know what's interesting about the 12-point scorecard that Katie talks about that we use is a lot of investment committees really struggle with an objective way to evaluate their investments and make decisions about when to add, when to replace a particular manager. And so the scorecard provides them and us sitting together on that investment committee with a truly objective tool that meets their fiduciary responsibilities.
Craig, the regulatory environment from both the Department of Labor, the regulatory environment from the Department of Labor, a risk perspective, has become more complex and more focused on ensuring that the plan sponsors firmly follow the letter of the law with their responsibilities. Talk about what Cornerstone, as a third-party, independent third party, can bring to the fiduciary at the company for their plan.
There's no question that a process has to be in place to ensure companies are meeting their fiduciary responsibilities. So the Department of Labor looks at the treatment of employees in terms of pricing on the plan. Are they in fact getting fair, competitive pricing as it pertains to the industry? One of the things that we like to do on a annual basis or every 2 years is take that relationship with the plan provider and shop it out in the market, benchmark it against what are other companies of similar size, of similar employee count, assets in the 401k, what are they paying, what are the standards in the industry. Things like education, how is education being delivered to employees, how are we evaluating the investments that are in the plan. So it's not only having a process to make sure that we're following all the guidelines as it pertains to fiduciary responsibility, but it also involves documenting that process and documenting the meetings that we're holding, documenting the meeting notes, so that inevitably when the day comes where the Department of Labor is auditing the company, auditing the plan, there's strong documentation showing that the fiduciary requirements are being met.
And fiduciary, it's a hot word, hot topic in the retirement plan space right now. It scares plan sponsors a little bit. People don't know how much is involved with the term fiduciary. And we're here to provide that guidance to those plan sponsors, to the HR manager who may be overlooking the plan, in addition to the other duties that they have to be in charge of, whether health benefits, hiring employees, making sure just things go smoothly in the company. We're here to steer them in the right way with the fiduciary aspect.
Katie, can you talk a little bit about what Cornerstone can do to enhance the experience for the employee, for the participant in the plan?
Sure. Once the plan's enrolled, when we become advisor onto the plan, we make sure that employees have a clear understanding of their 401k plan. We'll meet with the employees in a group basis, also one-on-one if the company so wishes. I feel that in a group setting, people are a little more reserved, but then on a one-on-one individual basis with advisors that Cornerstone provides to the company, it really opens up the doors for those personal questions, the financial questions that they don't want to share in front of their peers. Also, they really learn the difference between, simple things that may seem simple to us, but it's hard for a participant to understand, whether it be what's a Roth 401k, how much should I be deferring, will I have enough money to retire when that time comes.
Craig, for you, when you approach a 401k, employees in a 401k plan, you're not just engaging them as part of the education process and discussion about the 401k plan. You have a chance to talk to them about other aspects of their financial life. Talk about where that conversation can take you, just as part of the counseling that Cornerstone offers with the 401k.
Sure. A lot of people talk about education as it pertains to 401k plans, and we've seen financial wellness emerge as another topic amongst HR professionals, amongst responsibility, if you will, within the workplace. And there's no question that a better informed, a better educated employee is a more productive employee. And so through that financial wellness assessment, we're gauging interest amongst the organization. For example, and certainly with a 401k, the focus is on retirement. However, there may be individuals within the company who are working towards educating a son or daughter. There might be some employees who are assisting their elderly parents transition into long-term care scenarios or working on estate planning. And so as we poll the organization and get a sense for what's important to them, we can then gear our education towards not just topics around 401k and retirement, but around topics that are important to them. So there's a whole host of topics that come up. Again, I've mentioned education, around education planning, estate planning, long-term care planning, buying a first house, and it's amazing the breadth of topics that the conversations take us to.
Cornerstone is in partnership with LPL in offering retirement solutions. Talk about the leverage that LPL brings to the Cornerstone product offering for 401k plans.
Well, we mentioned financial wellness. We've partnered with, LPL has partnered with a firm called Financial Finesse, and Financial Finesse specializes in the financial wellness and the assessment of the topics that are important to employees. But it also helps us create a website for the employees that's unique to them, and it's a place where employees can go to become better educated on a whole host of topics. So for example, if you want to research the ins and outs of a 529 plan, you know that through your company there's a website set up for you that's dedicated to those topics. So Financial Finesse would be just an example of one tool. Katie mentioned the 12-point scorecard and the methodology that we use to track, rank the funds and the investments that are inside of the plan. There are other tools that assist employees in if they're transitioning money potentially from an old 401k plan into their current plan, as well as transition advice for those that are transitioning out of the company. And it might be that they're retiring from the company, or it might be that they're leaving to go elsewhere. But that advice and guidance on what to do with that 401k plan is invaluable. And so there's a lot of technology that LPL has provided to make us more efficient in delivering that advice.
It also relieves a lot of the stress on the HR position, again, with the transitions and the administrative burden.
Katie, the one hallmark of Cornerstone, one of Cornerstone's values, is a client-centric focus. As you work with plans, talk a little bit about the interaction that you have with both employees and with the executives at the company for the plan.
Sure. With once we become the advisor on the plan, I am with the plan sponsor every step of the way, from the conversion process to just daily administrative duties, random questions that have to deal with hardships, loans, random participant questions, maybe plan design questions. I will be the intermediary, the go-to contact for each plan sponsor, where I can be their main point of contact, work with them, and on all the moving aspects of the 401k. You sometimes have a third-party administrator. You sometimes have to deal with the record keeper. I will be that one person that you can go to, make sure, and kind of be the quarterback of the team, where if they have a question, I can lead them in the right direction and make sure that their needs are being answered.
As the focal point for Cornerstone's retirement efforts, you have the opportunity to evaluate many plans. what percentage of the plans that you see are really fully up to date, and what percentage of the plans really need some significant attention?
I don't have an exact percentage, but I would say majority. It's interesting to see. A lot of plans think that they're up to date. We meet with multiple companies where they are confident that their plan is successful, and then we really get into the details. We look at 408B2 disclosures, just plan design documents, the SBD, adoption agreements, amendments, and we can really find room for improvement where the plan thinks that they have a great plan, and well, they might not have the Roth option, or their participant average is low. They might have a low fidelity bond. They might have just different red flags that they thought they were up to date on, where there is much room for improvement.
Greg, in your experience, typically, what portion of the plans do you find need some significant attention, which are really pretty fine? And
you know, what's interesting is we've talked about fiduciary responsibilities, we've talked about the Department of Labor, and with a renewed focus on 401k plans, it's caused a lot of organizations to really take a good hard look at their current plan and determine where they stand. And so when we first work with somebody, we start with a full analysis and a benchmarking of their plan. And I think that plan sponsors, I think companies today are in a unique position to take advantage of companies. When you think of plan providers, whether it's Vanguard, Fidelity, Voya, the Principal Group, they're all out there competing aggressively for the business of various corporations. And so what we see taking place is a constant upgrade in technology, a constant competitive nature in terms of fee reduction. And so all of this is happening at a rather rapid pace that, quite frankly, causes, even if somebody made a change two years ago, that plan is more than likely out of date from a technology perspective, or potentially overpriced, potentially underserviced. So we're uncovering a great deal of opportunity for plan sponsors to not only upgrade what they're offering their employees, but also to upgrade what they're receiving in terms of advice and consultation from a firm like Cornerstone Financial Partners.
The statistics for the degree of scrutiny that ERISA is bringing to this, to the 401k field is pretty astonishing. Talk a little bit about the actions that ERISA took over the last year.
Well, in 2014, there was a record number of plan audits. We've seen the Department of Labor increase the staff of auditors, increase the number of audits that they're taking place. And really what an auditor is looking for, they're looking for a plan sponsor that's acting in the sole benefit of employees. So they're looking at things like the timely deposits of funds coming from an employee's paycheck making its way into the plan. They're looking at the expense structure of the plan, and they're asking, is this in line with industry expectations right now from a competitive perspective. They're looking at the investment committee and asking questions such as, have you made a change to the investment lineup in the last 24 months? And if you haven't, why not? They're really digging deep into the fact that the plan should be operating for the sole benefit of the employees. And for a lot of people that are going through these audits, they can confidently answer yes to those questions, but in a lot of cases they can't demonstrate the actions that they've been taking through documentation, through notes, through a process. And we always come back to a process and a procedure to document and to show the work that's being done. And I've always said that that's the most valuable tool to have in any audit.
Katie, if you could talk a little bit more about the discipline, the value of the discipline that Cornerstone brings to our co-fiduciary role with 401k plans.
You want to steer me in a little bit of a direction? You're saying what?
No, well, I mean,
Sorry, I've been serious too long. I need a break.
I mean, so Craig talked about process, and so maybe take us through what that process discipline is that we will walk through with the plan sponsor to ensure they're at the highest levels of compliance.
Okay.
And you can we can talk about 320, being a 321, being a fiduciary. That
You don't want to say 338 though, right?
Let's have a little bit about how talk about how this is not core to most CFOs or HR people. They want to build. They want to build computers. They want to sell software. They don't want to do 401k plans.
Right.
So talk about what Cornerstone can do to give them peace of mind by focusing on this part of the process.
I'm good.
Okay.
All right. So.
Ready, break.
Okay. With CFOs, HR managers, plan sponsors, they have so many other things going on with the company that they're running. We're here to step in and be part of the 321 fiduciary role. Fiduciary, again, is a big hot topic in retirement plan industry, and we're here to relieve some of the responsibilities from the plan sponsor. Now, not all the fiduciary responsibilities going to be relieved. They always will have some responsibilities regarding the plan. However, we're here to guide them and make sure that they're doing things correctly every step of the way, from benchmarking service providers, looking at costs of investments, making sure the right investments are in the fund lineup. And we ultimately let the plan sponsor design how they want their plan run. If they want us to meet with them on an annual basis, we will. We'll do an annual review behind the scenes, meet with them, prepare any recommendations that we find that we should include into their plan for the following year. We also run quarterly investment reports. We'll put those in a fiduciary vault, the latest technology that we have through LPL Financial, where we can upload plan documents, quarterly investment reviews, meeting minutes, investment policy statements, all in one location for the plan sponsor to have at their hand.
And be acting as a 321 co-fiduciary on the plan is something that we're proud to be able to do, because giving a client advice is one thing, but giving a client advice and then being willing to stand behind it and be held accountable alongside that client is another thing. And that's exactly what we're doing as a co-fiduciary under 321.
There's significant value that Cornerstone brings to employees in the transition process as well. Talk about that. Talk about the transition both into a company, how Cornerstone can help the employee from a financial perspective. More importantly, for those transitioning out, whether through retirement or separation, how Cornerstone helps with their experience.
It's interesting today, as people change careers, change companies, change jobs, that the average person tends to accumulate 401k plans. And so those plans, could be at, jobs that they held 2-3 years ago. And what we tend to see is that they get neglected. They get neglected in terms of the investments that are in that plan. They may not have looked at those investments in 3 years, 5 years. And so consolidating your investments where possible is always a wise strategy. And so assisting an employee in rolling over an old 401k plan into their current 401k plan, it's going to receive more attention from them. It's going to receive more attention from us as the advisor, and they're clearly going to be better off in the future. And the same holds true when they make a transition, again, leaving the current company, again, giving advice around what happens if you do liquidate it, what types of penalties, what types types of taxes that you pay. It's interesting when people are surveyed, a very small percentage of people surveyed indicate that they would not liquidate their 401k plans upon leaving a company, under 5% for that matter. And what we see in studies is as high as 40% of people end up liquidating their 401ks upon leaving an organization. And when you add up the taxes and you add up the fees that you're paying in that decision, in some cases it can be as high as 30, even 40% that you're losing to taxes and penalties. And that's a big focus of ours, is to help people make the right decision and, again, ultimately have more money for their retirement when they truly need it.
Well, of course, you're also losing the opportunity to have that asset compound tax-free, which is...
That's right. That's right, and you know, and I think when people are transitioning, you know, essentially when you're looking at the compounding value of your investments, you take somebody who might be in their 20s or in their early 30s, you know, and you have 25 plus years to retirement, and you think about that compounding effect, it's pretty powerful.
Just one final question. The Cornerstone...
Well, also during the transition process, every participant, employee coming into the firm, leaving the firm, they do have, you know, Cornerstone's contact information, so we can help them and guide them in the right direction, whether it be rolling it into an IRA, consolidating it into a 401k, or, you know, we just try to steer clear of the liquidation.
Well, of course, but Cornerstone proactively reaches out to every employee in transition, whether entering the plan or departing the plan.
I don't know what we should say there because we're not supposed to solicit rollovers. So
well, in
Let's just leave that.
No, I've got a good, yeah.
I have one more question.
In terms of transitioning, whether somebody's transitioning into the company or out of the company, each employee receives a series of letters from our firm. And those letters on the transition on the way in, it's information about their new 401k plan, it's information about us, and it's information suggesting that if they need assistance rolling an old plan into the current plan, that we're here to help, giving our contact information. The same thing happens on the way out. So they receive a series of letters, again, informing them of potential taxes and penalties if they were to liquidate their 401k plan, but it also discusses options, and some of those options are just simply leaving it in place. Those options include rolling it over to their new company's 401k plan, or another option would be rolling it over into an IRA. But we're strong believers in that when employees are educated and well educated as to what all of their options are, they make good decisions. And so, again, on the transitioning on the way in and on the way out, series of letters, and in some cases those letters generate a phone call to us because they do want to take us up on some additional advice in that transition.
Given Cornerstone's long history as a wealth and investment manager, there's been some very nice performance and obviously some great experience along the way. Talk about how the experience of Cornerstone as an investment manager helps better inform Cornerstone as an independent third-party advisor for 401k plans.
I think Cornerstone is in a unique situation to be able to provide advice on both the corporate side and also on the individual side. There are some companies out there that focus solely on 401k consulting, and while they do a very nice job in that area, they tend to not have the background as it pertains to consulting with individuals, whether it's on their own retirement plan, their overall financial plan. And then the flip side is true. There's a lot of companies out there that focus solely on providing financial planning for individuals, and in that sense they don't have the ability in the background to understand the 401k business. And I think we're in a unique position working in both areas and having expertise in both areas, because they're clearly both needed when working with a corporation.
Katie, we'll close with you. What's your vision for Cornerstone Retire over the next 3 to 5 years?
We would like Cornerstone Retire to, help plan sponsors, guide them in the right direction, enhance the plan values, work with employees and really help them get a great understanding that the 401k is going to be their main component for saving for retirement. Pensions aren't existent, or there's very few pensions. Social Security, who knows? So it's really up to the plan sponsor and their employees to save for retirement, make sure that it's a focus as a company benefit, and really, drive it into their system that, hey, you need to start saving for your retirement. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Actually, I do have one final thing. Katie, as you think about the next 2 to 3 weeks or so, what would you say is the most important team that needs to sweep its games in the NCAA tournament for you to win your bracket?
Not Iowa State. Oh, God. I already busted my bracket.
Iowa State's causing you problems, Katie?
I had them in the finals. Oh, my goodness. They lost by 1 point.
Okay.
I thought we
You're
should
done.
have touched on, the health benefits.
That's everything.
The health benefits.
Like the financial stress